It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
Here we are to a Monday. All right, most kids are out of school now. This is when vacations begin.
I've been out of school for 40 years.
Not me. I do more homework now than I ever did in school.
Yeah. My oldest only has one child left in school.
Ah, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
That's crazy to me.
That is.
Just insane to me.
Because it seems like such a short time ago. But then again, I remember, you and I together, 19 years, July 15th.
We were actually working together the day the twins were born.
Yep.
We were working together. We were on site together at an event, is what I mean by that. But we were also working together. Wow. It would have been... I had been a grandfather for a month when we started working together. My first granddaughter born June 18th of that year, and we started working together right around July 15th.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. She's in college, lives on her own.
Wow.
She'll be 19.
Wow.
She'll be 19 tomorrow.
Wow.
Insane, yeah?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet we're still in our 30s.
I need a nap. Just talking about it makes me tired, but I love it. I just love it. By the way, made for a great Father's Day weekend. Because, I don't know, my wife and I include all of our babies, including our grandbabies, because we've been so active in our grandkids' lives, too, and we're kind of young as grandparents. So, it was really it was a special weekend. It was good. Very good.
Was anything? I'm actually going to MSNBC's website to see if anything at all was written about blasting fathers in any way.
Yeah.
Okay.
If not, then they missed their opportunity. I don't know why they wouldn't have. Right? They've gone after everything else. And for those just joining us, we said this earlier, but for the benefit of those just joining us, when they say the birthing parent, being, of course, the mom, I find that offensive. You're saying that's their primary role. How dare you? What's next? That she belongs, she's always barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, and that's where she belongs? How dare you?
Second headline, MSNBC, Trump's cognitive decline increasingly difficult to conceal.
Yeah.
It's where they started last week.
And
then what the head-spinning new report exposes Trump's unbelievably radical new plan.
Mm-hmm.
Get this now.
Yeah.
Trump's reported tariff proposal would cause chaos and be a gift to the rich. Donald Trump's new plan is an oppressive tax masquerading as a break from the far left that has always been in favor of tariffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Bernie Sanders, remember 2016?
Yes.
I agree with Mr. Trump on tariffs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't remember when they criticized
Bernie,
did they?
Yeah.
Maybe
they have. Maybe we just missed it.
Now, look, I'm not in favor of tariffs. We've always been consistent on it.
Right. But the left has always loved tariffs.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been against it, except if used for justifiably in retaliatory consequences like China or whatever like that.
Yep.
That I understand. But no, we've never been. And we had a big blowout with that with a lot of Trump supporters going back
yeah.
to like 2016, 2017 on it.
Sure did.
And then when Larry Kudlow came in and they really didn't, the tariffs were cut back and what they were going to do with the very much more populist USMCA they didn't do.
And he was where we were, and that is target China, because we said then, look, if Trump can't get the deal done in terms of the intellectual property rights that China is stealing from every American innovator, and we see it over and over again. We have the evidence of that over and over again. If Trump can't fix that issue, then we were convinced. I said I'm convinced it will never happen if the Trump administration can't get it done. And so if you have to go at them with tariffs, then you need to do that and take the rest of our trading partners with you so that we stand side by side and make them understand that we're going to create a pariah in China if they don't follow through and get their stuff straight.
Well, that's what Kudlow wanted to do.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that was something.
That wasn't what Trump wanted.
No. I was saying we agreed with Kudlow when he went in and he was talking that way because that's something we've always seen.
As part of the Trump administration, right, when he came in and said, and then Trump basically went his way. Mm-hmm. Has Kudlow commented on this one?
On what?
On Trump's new tariff proposal?
I don't know.
As you said, we brought up the weakness in it, and we said the left would hit him on it, and they did on MSNBC. We said that, in fact, on Thursday, so apparently they're starting to listen to us.
Yeah.
But we said, no, they're going to say, right now, when you have 50% of the wage earners who don't pay any taxes, if there's and Trump was proposing tariffs instead of a
income tax,
that won't happen. You're not going to. Well, if it happens, I will be extremely angry because if they don't get rid of the income tax, then the left will just bring in two taxes when they come in.
Right. If they don't repeal the 16th Amendment,
and you're not going to repeal the 16th Amendment in during the Trump administration.
Yeah, it's not.
If he's elected. So
right.
But I figured the head spinning new report exposes Trump's unbelievably radical new plan, which would be to tax the bottom 50% who don't pay any taxes through tariffs.
Right.
So we knew they were going to do that, and they did that. I didn't know it was going to be today, but they did it today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we said it right away that night, after he floated that, because that's effectively what happens, is that people that are paying no taxes, no income tax right now, would be paying taxes through the tariffs. And politically, you can't get that done.
And when J.D. Vance was on the Sunday morning news shows a couple of weeks ago, he couldn't explain it. He deflected it.
Right. Because then the question would be, because if you came back and tried to defend it and said, well, what we'll do is we'll create an exemption for them on tariffs. Okay, well, how do you do that? Well, you have to keep the IRS in place, and you have to audit them somehow, the individuals, to make sure that that they qualify for the exemption. And so you're really not changing much.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be you don't get an exemption from tariffs. You would have to get, the IRS would have to be giving you credits back.
Well, that would be the remedy for the exemption, you would be paid through the IRS, which, again, doesn't change much about the IRS we have, because that means everybody would have to file taxes with the IRS. Because the idea of doing away with income, the income tax, doing away with income, I'm used to saying that because I'm in radio.
Well, they're working on it.
Yeah. The idea of giving, part of the idea of doing away with the income tax, doing away with the IRS, well, you're not going to do that in that case. If that would be your remedy, for, again, the bottom 50%. But all of this is for naught, because if you don't repeal the 16th Amendment, conservatives would not be on board at all.
No.
And you have to start with that, and that's not going to happen.
Well, here's the thing. You would probably have a fight within the Republican Party for tariffs that probably would garner, and this is the interesting thing from MSNBC, you'd probably get half of the Democrats in the House or more to agree to a tariff plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could.
Because that's always been a liberal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's been a liberal.
You could get
more
Democrats on. Right. I think you could get a number of Democrats on board for the tariff side of it. Yeah, for sure.
We'll see.
Yeah. Repealing the 16th Amendment. No.
Not going to happen.
No. We won't see that in our lifetime.
Not going to happen in the next decade.
Nope.
Because it's always what you replace it with. And if you replace it with tariffs, that means the IRS has to then be involved in giving cash back. You actually delve deeper into people, and then they get audited.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Then the audits.
Yep.
All the focus of the audits would be on the bottom 50%.
Well,
that's getting huge transfers,
and everybody would have to still file your taxes based on your income to find out if you qualify for the exemption.
But I haven't heard yet. We're extrapolating out. I didn't hear Trump talk about the fact that there would be a rebate for tariffs.
No,
for the bottom 50%.
No,
you and I extrapolated that out because there would be if that became a serious consideration, it would be, well, then you're going to tax the bottom 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's many people that believe, no, everybody should have some skin in the game. You should pay some taxes over a certain amount of money. But the fact that half of taxpayers don't pay any, half of alleged taxpayers don't pay any tax. How can you be a taxpayer if you can't be the taxpayer who got refunds from the IRS, well, then you're technically not a taxpayer.
Yeah, not income tax anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you're a tax receiver.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And again, if your political answer is, well, no, we would have a fix for that. Well, the only fix is a refund.
Right.
And the only way to do a refund is everyone still has to file taxes to find out who qualifies for the refund. It's just, it's that simple. And the same thing, and you and I have talked about the national sales tax. A great idea. Except you're going to be taxing people who aren't taxed right now. Politically, now what do? Well, we'll give them an exemption. Well, how do you get the exemption? Well, they have to be essentially audited, which means everyone still has to file taxes to find out who qualifies for the exemption. There's no way around it. Unless you could get the political will to say everybody has the same teeth in the game. But you're not going to see that. Because I know roughly half would say no.
Which half would that be, Eric? Well, let's take our cue from the college loan.
Yeah, exactly.
Forgiveness.
Yes.
As we've said,
as if you committed a sin by doing the loan.
Right. You gave that kid the loan. You need forgiveness.
Here's a wafer, some wine, and
where is your
boom.
act? Where is your act of contrition?
Exactly.
You gave the loan out.
You didn't even confess yet.
You're the guilty party. You offered the loan.
Go light some candles, would you? Yeah, that's.
You damn evil SOB.
How dare
you offer the loan? What do you mean it's not my fault?
Repent.
Well, you're the one they're getting forgiveness from.
But you're right. If you look at that equation, you have a number of people that are for it. Why? Well, because they get the direct benefit of it.
As we said with the polling should be done only from people that do not get the benefit.
Right.
How many people are, because the ones that are going to be paying and getting nothing back from it are the ones
that's a conflict of interest.
Who should be polled.
Right.
And you need to ask the question correctly.
Right.
Is it more moral? Should the morality of the country be that the person who takes out the loan, irrespective of their ability to pay back, gets some type of relief from you, that you have to pay for the contract that they signed, or should aid only come to people that are truly in trouble and the rest pay their college loans?
Right.
I wonder what that number would be.
Right.
90%?
Right. Yeah. By the way, I saw the video on social media over the weekend, Stanford students walking out of the graduation because they're pro-Hamas. These are the people that also are a number of them that will be putting their hand out saying, hey, I want you to pay for my college loan. Just keep that in mind.
Hamas studies. I'm taking gender and Hamas studies.
Yeah, you need to pay for my radicalism.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by Howes Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
In the movie Field of Dreams, it was build it and they will come. But the USDA has a home ownership program that says if you come, you might be able to build it. It's called
the Mutual Self-Help Housing Program.
USDA Rural Housing Service Administrator Joaquin Altoro told us.
It's a program that a nonprofit organizes families, like 10 different families, and all of the families help each other build each other's homes, and not one family can move into the house until all of the houses are built. So we realize kind of the efficiencies of everybody putting their sweat equity into it.
That's how Idaho mother of four Sandra Saucetta achieved her dream of owning a home.
It was just very miraculous, and I think the program it's great. Like it answers the prayers for so many people.
To find out more, go online, search RD, that's Rural Development, rd.usda.gov. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. You know, just show you how lost Democrats are. This is a perfect example. Wall Street Journal, one of their lead editorials yesterday, is business really part of the problem? Montana Senator Jon Tester thinks the success of his Republican opponent, Tim Sheehy, is disqualifying. When President Obama told business owners, you didn't build that, during his 2012 campaign, Democrats scrambled to cover for his gaffe. Yeah, we know. We hit him pretty hard.
We did.
Today's left says that if you build that, well, you're to blame.
Right.
That's how Montana Democratic Senator Jon Tester described his opponent at their first debate this month. Quote, we've had a lot of folks move into this state and a lot of folks with thick wallets, Mr. Tester said. Tim Sheehy is not part of the solution. He's part of the problem. The goal is to paint Mr. Sheehy as a mustache-twirling tycoon, foreign to the rural West, but it's an odd description of his career. He founded Bridger Aerospace in Montana a decade ago and took it public last year.
Right.
His response to Tester, creating jobs in this state was an honor for me to do. So if you do what people want you to do in the state of Texas,
you're a failure.
Come on here and bring your business here.
Yeah.
Democrats view that as a negative.
Well, it's kind of the Yellowstone approach. You know, right now, Tester's using the Yellowstone approach. Outsiders don't belong. Don't bring your big city into our Montana kind of thing. Well, he started his business there in Montana.
Mm-hmm. The company outfits planes to survey and suppress wildfires, inspired by air support methods that Mr. Sheehy learned as a Navy SEAL. Last year, the Interior Department hired him to map fire-prone lands, and the company brought $67 million in revenue to Montana. This is what Mr. Tester calls part of the problem.
You're right. Not only can outsiders not come in, we don't want any of your success and whatnot. And job creation. Yeah. Well, but where else do you go? Where else do you go? You know, I mean, it's actually a very great story what Sheehy did. Again, using his military expertise, using his experience, like many entrepreneurs, taking what they have learned and then parlaying that into something successful and also, by the way, creating jobs in their state.
I like the Yellowstone analogy, though.
Yeah.
I like that, but I'm like, wow, that could actually influence a few independents.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I'm sure most conservatives in Montana understand bringing basically an aerospace company to your state is a good thing.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, you see, I mean, that's the problem. You know, somebody like Tester, who is viewed as vulnerable, but is also viewed as somebody who is a moderate Democrat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they've been portrayed. He's not a moderate Democrat,
right,
but that's how he's been portrayed in Montana for such a long time. And I just love the Wall Street Journal with their articles saying, what are you doing, Democrats? That now for Tester, it's like, okay, it used to be, you didn't build that, which is a great point. Biden, Obama said that a couple of years back. And who was he saying that specifically to when he said that?
Small business owners.
Was that small business owners that you didn't build that?
And we shredded that.
Oh, I thought he meant like roads and bridges were built. Thought this was a roads and bridges.
What he was saying
is build the roads or bridges.
You didn't build this business because the government had to build the roads and bridges to get people to your business.
Yeah,
and we tore that apart and said, nope, because here's how you get the revenue to build the bridges and roads to those businesses by the taxes from the profits of business. Nothing else happens. Nothing gets done without those profits.
Right.
And so they built the roads, the bridges, and the businesses.
And the businesses also paid taxes, plus the individual owners of those businesses paid taxes. The employees of those businesses paid taxes because of the profits of that company. So as we said, in fact, the private sector builds everything.
Yep.
And that's the ignorance of Obama. Remember, Obama was the smartest guy in the room. He was always the smartest guy in the room who didn't know basic economics.
Right.
Was completely and totally clueless. But I find that really interesting that now it's like, okay, you came to this state years ago. You built a company, basically a manufacturing company. And think about this, a manufacturing company that provides the accessories and parts for planes so they can put out fires, wildfires.
Right.
I mean, in a place like Montana.
The expertise for which was from his military career.
Right, from his military career, and bases it in Montana that is familiar, I'm sure, with wildfires and forest fires. And that's a negative.
Right.
And he's a moderate. And that's where you shouldn't vote for him. He comes in here with his highfalutin ways, creates a company, a manufacturing company that builds parts for planes to put out wildfires. He's brought in tens of millions of dollars in revenue. Don't vote for this guy.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is how bad being a Democrat right now has become. And that's from a moderate Democrat.
Yeah.
That was an AOC.
Right.
That was, well, quote, moderate Democrat, end of quote.
Well, and, you know, you're not going to win that when much of the state right now, that state, Montana, are Trump supporters. The billionaire from New York. And I know it's different. Well, wait a minute. We're talking about somebody who's going to represent our state, from our state, and the whole thing. But anywhere that they turn, how can you be so tone deaf?
You have nowhere because you have nowhere to go with your party.
Right. Well, it's like, you know, it's Ron Tester. Come on, Sheehy was a Navy SEAL. Nobody likes them. You know, I mean, I guess you just have to make it up.
John, not Ron.
Did I say Ron Tester?
Yeah.
No one believes your story when all you have is, hey, he's too successful. But is it
under the equity plan, somebody must be less successful, and you're taking too much of the success.
Well, because again, the current leader of the Republican Party, the presumptive nominee, is a highly successful guy from New York. How can you forget that fact? I mean, again, I know it's a Senate seat. You're talking about sending someone from your state to the Senate, but you have nowhere else to go. What else would Tester have? I almost said Ron again. What else would Don Tester have?
Don.
What does Juan Tester think is going? I get it wrong several times. What does Tester believe the people are thinking? I mean, because the only thing I would go on if I were Tester, maybe you don't use trial. I'm proven as a senator. I've worked hard for the people of Montana. These are the things that I worked for and I want to keep working for. I mean, it's the only thing, if you're going to be, if you're going to have any self-awareness at all, that's the only thing you could go on.
And you
which
pick out,
is basically,
yeah.
I'm the incumbent, and that's the only thing you got.
And you pick out any of the moderate ideas that you had.
Right.
Even if they never got passed, this is what I supported.
Right. These are the things that I supported, and I have fought. I have been here to fight for Montana for many years, but
oh, so you mean the fight with me?
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, that's all you got.
Well, like I said, we need you to vote for this guy. Instead of bringing his business here to Montana, he brought it to Idaho.
Come on.
And so he didn't want to bring his business here, employ people, have more houses to be built because we have a housing shortage already and real estate's going up. And him taking his jobs not to Montana but to Idaho is a reason that you should vote for him.
And he was a Navy SEAL, and they do things in secret. They sneak up on people. That's not right. I mean, where did he go? It's the only thing you can do is, I've got this many years of service. These are the things I have fought for, and I know the people of Montana want me to keep fighting for them. That's the only thing you got. If you're going to involve any self-awareness. That guy's too successful, and he served our country. We can't have that.
He's too successful and served our country.
Nobody trusts anyone who would sneak up on someone. That's not a tactic we should be using. I mean, you just get into that, again, the no self-awareness territory very quickly. Right. And that's
you ready for
not going
this?
to work for you.
We had a story on this last week. What was it, the story on last week where all the money, the charging stations. Only 7 charging stations have been built, and they say one of the problems is DEI and all the regulations.
Yeah.
They can't figure out, they can't organize how to build anything because of the DEI. They can't accomplish anything. It continues. FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr on Friday wrote that President Joe Biden has not connected even one American with high-speed internet with the $42.5 billion in funding from the so-called bipartisan infrastructure bill. In 2021, the Biden administration got $42.45 billion from Congress to deploy high-speed internet to millions of Americans. 3 years later, it has not connected even one person with those funds. In fact, it now says that no construction projects will even start until 2025 at the earliest.
Yeah.
The Federal Communications Commissioner wrote, meanwhile, the Biden administration, this is from the report, the Biden administration has been layering a partisan political agenda on top of this $42.45 billion program, a liberal wish list that has nothing to do with connecting Americans, climate change mandates, tech biases, DEI requirements, favoring government-run networks, and more, he continued. Carr is specifically slamming the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, which allocated $42.45 billion to support broadband infrastructure and adoption. The program was established by the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, otherwise known as the so-called bipartisan infrastructure bill. The bill had no conservative victories and had many leftist carve-outs, as Breitbart News detailed. Congress passed the infrastructure bill in 2021, which would mean that the BEAD program has had little success in its 2 years since Biden passed the bill. Wow. Carr continues saying that the BEAD program fails to close the digital divide or this gap between those with high-speed internet and those without. The Biden administration is barreling towards a broadband blunder. Congress has appropriated enough money to end the digital divide, but the Biden administration is squandering the moment by putting partisan political goals above smart policy, the commissioner explained. It is doing so through rate regulation, through union, technology, and DEI preferences, and through a thumb on the scale for government-run networks. All of this threatens to leave rural communities behind. So with the left, it doesn't even matter whether they get the money. They can't get through their own regulation.
Yeah. Because you can't, because your own DEI policy ties your hands at every turn.
And I would use this then. I would use this again, that everything that the Democrats can't and won't do it, and I would include the broadband. I'd include the border. I'd include inflation, defund the police. These two perfect examples. One American's gotten broadband because of this. You'd think this was quite simple.
Right.
With such an infrastructure. Nope.
Because they're worried about identity politics. Yep. As a matter of policy, their identity politics is keeping that taxpayer money from being used. Then return it to the taxpayer.
That wasn't a joke.
No.
Oh.
Give it back. If you're not going to use it. That's another thing, it will be interesting to see how many items like this, because it's not a small thing. But it may, because if it's not on the surface, it may seem like a small thing going in, let's say, if Trump wins. The Trump administration has to reverse such insane policy that keeps things from being implemented. If we, through our elected representatives, allocate money for a project, then that money they should be able to carry through with that project. What's next? What about the really important, critical roles of government? Are those things getting done?
That's a great point. If these simple things can't get done, are the things that have to be done and need to be done that are hard to get done being done?
Right.
And we're talking military and intelligence.
Exactly.
But if all of this is going on now, where you would think, well, this would be nothing to the private sector to produce this. You've got $42 billion. Let's go.
Right.
They can't get it done because of regulations. How is this affecting military readiness? If this is affecting other departments that are given cash, how is this affecting the things that are absolutely critical to our survival?
Exactly.
866-98 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. All right, rules here that CNN has put down for the debate. 90-minute debate. It will feature 2 commercial breaks. Neither candidate will be permitted to speak to campaign staff during the breaks, and a coin flip will determine their podium positions. Biden and Trump will not be allowed to bring pre-written notes on the stage, although they will be given a pen and paper to write things down during the debate. Microphones will be turned off unless it is the candidate's turn to speak, and no studio audience will be present. The inability to interrupt and feed off the live audience could allow moderators to maintain control of the debate, but that might not be a good thing for Trump since it's two people that don't like him.
Yeah.
So there you go. We'll see. But apparently if there's a podium, they both have to stand because there was that discussion.
Yeah, right.
And so no notes.
90 minutes.
No notes, which means no teleprompter, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, 90 minutes, not an hour, 90.
Oof. Oof. I don't see that going well for President Biden at all. Given the recent just the last 2 weeks, that's not good.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.